now they will be able to access.
Now, Director General of the National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, says the proposal to implement a 24-hour economy demands digitalization of various sectors to be efficient. According to Dr. Kojo Mensah Brampa, running a 24-hour economy must not be seen as simply extending the operational hours of businesses. Christian Yali reports.
The promise of a 24-hour economy by NDC flag bearer John Mahama has been met with both criticism and praise. What the opposition sees as the blueprint for reviving Ghana's economy has been described as an afterthought by the ruling party. But opinions have been shared over the need for the digitalization of the economy to make this transformation a reality.
In our long-term perspective, one of the things we have emphasized to support the 24-hour economy is to really digitalize.
I see.
Because I can buy a book from my home without necessarily getting up. So it's there in our medium perspective. Okay. It is really there.
I see.
But it is hinged upon the digitalization of the economy. And it's happening.
Some experts have argued that the dominance of a one-shift working system in the country is partly to blame for the high rate of unemployment and limited jobs. As part of its long-term development plan for Ghana, the National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, also makes a case for a multi-shift 24-hour economy to drive progress.
What I say is that this is a process, it's not an action. And the process is already identified and the economy is being worked on.
With what seems to be an already politicized issue, some experts who have lauded the move say it must not be dismissed entirely.
Whether it's 24 hours or 12 hours, the basic thing is the engine that pushes it.
I see.
And once you get the structure going, the rest is with the private sector. The private sector, the demand and the supply will indicate whether they should work in the night or work in the morning. And that is it.
On to some more stories. The country director of Amnesty International, Genevieve Partington, says a decision by President Akufo-Addo not to assent to the anti-witchcraft bill will hamper efforts geared at protecting accused persons and vulnerable in the society. Now, speaking on the 75th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations, the Amnesty country rep says Ghana has come a long way in enforcing rights of all persons, including women.
We also have the Witchcraft Accusations Bill, which is very important because it's an abuse of women's rights, especially in Ghana. We always hear women are always being beaten, especially older women. Most of the time, these women may have psychosocial challenges and people do not understand and just, lynch them in public. This is something that Amnesty International is very, very concerned about. So when the president did not assent to the bill, it was very, very concerning. So we are appealing to the president to come out with a memo, which he's supposed to give to the Speaker of Parliament, to show us exactly what the challenges are within the bill. The bill went through a very consultative process of lawyers, other stakeholders like the Mental Health Authority were all on board when we were drafting this bill. Okay. So it'll be really interesting to see what the president wants to bring out.
Now let's head to the Ashanti region now, and it was a nightmare for some traders at French Line in Kumasi when their shops were destroyed by a fire outbreak on Sunday morning. Not even the swift arrival of personnel from the Ghana National Service could save the victims from their huge losses. The fire swept through over 50 metal containers and wooden shops in less than an hour. Ibrahim Abubakar went to the fire scene and reports.
This is where the fire is reported to have started, where the owner is alleged to have left a refrigerator on. It quickly spread to other shops within some few minutes.
Tears dropped uncontrollably as traders looked helpless whilst the inferno turned their investments to ashes. Some desperate victims couldn't leave the job to the firefighters alone. They were also using everything they could lay their hands on to fetch water to help in dousing the flame. But intermittent explosion from some of the shops was a major hindrance to the rescue effort.
There were cylinders, and the cylinders here are those small ones meant for cooking. people are still cooking in the shops here. So that is what we noticed. So anytime the fire spread to another shop, you could hear an explosion.
After 3 hours, the fire was brought under control, but the damage was beyond recovery. Most of the victims were left in shock as they began to count their losses. All my 2 shops have been burnt. I produced 1,000 slippers just a few days ago, but couldn't recover even one. I sell one for 30 cedis. I had to go for a loan to double production because of Christmas. I'm even feeling cold with severe headache due to the loss. I received bags of salt from a client just yesterday, and all are gone. I don't even know what to do. Others were also not affected by the fire, but they lost their wares through theft. My shop did not burn, but people have stolen my items, including a refrigerator. Though the main cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained, some traders are pointing to an electric fault in the shop that the fire started from. The public, however, been advised to be fire safety conscious, especially as we approach the Harmattan season. For now, personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service have commenced investigation to establish the exact cause of the fire. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Frontline, Kumasi.
Sad development there, but let's do some more stories. And Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bamia says the government sees the African Continental Free Trade Area after as a catalyst for economic expansion. Now, he noted that the government has undertaken deliberate policies to strengthen indigenous companies to enable them to compete effectively in the global market. The Vice President was speaking at the 20th edition of the Ghana Club 100 organized by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center.
One of the areas where we can help our private sector immensely is to transition from the informal economy to more of a formalized economy. That area of formalization of the economy, we relied heavily on digitalization of the economy. Of course, the anchor for the digitalization program has been the Ghana card.
Well, let's head to the Volta region, where there might be some good news for persons in Mefe, as all affected flood victims staying at St. Kizito Senior High Schools have been relocated to the alternative housing project. Fumigation exercises at the school has started ahead of the arrival of the fresh SHS students on Monday.
It was all joy when the affected residents of the Kosomo Dams village at Mepe were brought to their new settlement area after sleeping in classrooms for over 7 weeks. The victims, grouped in nuclear families, were given a room each. They were grateful for the intervention.
We are so much grateful, and we pray that God bless him and his family.
However, some are still lamenting over their loss.
It wasn't easy for us there at all. When the sunlight came like this, when we were in the tent, you don't feel comfortable. It's hot like oven.
According to Patrick, he has an admission to further his education at the tertiary level, but does not have the means.
I got admission to pursue my dispensing technician, but right now I lost everything of mine. I lost a total amount of 17,000 that I used to run my businesses.
Currently, the St. Kizito Senior High School, which has accommodated some of the flood victims, is being fumigated. The Member of Parliament for the North Thong, Samuel Okujetu Abrakwa, said more schools will be freed to allow school activities to commence.
Our greatest fear was that if we didn't hurry with our alternative housing project and relocated the displaced persons here, this school will collapse. Already, continuing students in second year and third year have lost about 8 weeks of academic work.
He appealed to the general public to continue to support the affected victims.
There are 21 camps in Northtown, and these 21 camps are all in schools. Now we've managed to reduce it to 20, and we need to build more housing units so that every displaced person can now leave all the schools.
Meanwhile, many more private organizations continue to donate in support of the affected victims.
We'll stay on the floods now, and farmers in the Esuchari enclave in the lower Volta Basin are grappling with devastating losses in the aftermath of the recent Akosombo and Pond Dam spillage. Peter Kwawadato has been on the ground assessing the profound impact of floods on rice and banana farmers.
The recent Akosombo Dam spillage has left a trail of destruction in its wake, displacing over 35,000 people. Families have been forced from their homes, losing not just their possessions but also their means of sustenance. The Asuchwari area of the Shai Osudoku district is one area that was also hard hit, inundating farms and causing substantial losses. Weeks after the floodwaters receded, the damage is evident. The once green acres of crops now lie reduced to ashes and barren lands. Rice farmers were unable to harvest their rice on time. Scores of rice farmers and 3 banana farmers now face the daunting task of restarting their operations. The farmers have to invest in new seeds and seedlings and also employ both human labor and machinery to prepare their lands for the upcoming farming season. Affected farmers are now embarking on the challenging journey of recovery.
Now, female employees of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, are leading a charge to launch a Girls in Engineering Scholarship scheme, advocating for more opportunities, especially for girls in the engineering field. Here's a report.
Just 4% of the technical workers of the Ghanaian Electricity Company, ECG, were female as of September this year. Of these, 6 were engineers. The Fem Power outreach effort was started in response to this inequality, enabling girls to surpass boundaries in leadership and self-worth.
Fem Power will empower more women and increase female leaders in the company. Increase the number of qualified female computer scientists and electrical engineers in ECG. Sustain the interest of female students in STEM fields. And lastly, create an opportunity for investment in the future of this great company and the country.
The scholarship program's goal, run by the ECG's female employees, is to encourage girls to pursue engineering degrees and actively participate in STEM subjects.
It's not about competition. It is about using your potential. If people develop technology, it's people who use technology, it's people who make a difference in communities. And therefore, you can't sideline the majority of your people and still want to be advanced.
The managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Samuel Dubik Masubir Mahama, pledged the company's full support for the Fem Power outreach initiative.
I wish this could be bigger than it is, so I'm going to do everything I can to promote it, to make it bigger than it is now.
Already, 10 less privileged girls are enrolled in the program, embarking on various levels of engineering studies. This initiative marks a pivotal moment in bridging the gender gap in the field of engineering in Ghana.
Now on to some more stories. Ghana is pursuing the creation of a global geopark to preserve its unique geological heritage and promote sustainable tourism, demonstrating its commitment to environmental preservation. Africa currently has only 2 out of 195 UNESCO global geoparks in Morocco and Tanzania.
Geoparks are UNESCO-designated areas containing geologically significant sites aimed at conserving heritage and promoting tourism. They inspire local businesses, training and geotourism. Ghana is aiming to secure designated land for a global geopark to make it the 3rd on the continent.
I must emphasize and remind all of us that this initiative is not a competition. It is a common good for not only our country, but the world at large. The more geoparks we have in the world, the better for our very own environment, the very source of our sustenance.
The UNESCO representative to Ghana, Edmond Mukala, highlighted the transformative power of geoparks.
Are a collection of focal spots deemed to hold significant value for sustainable development within diverse environmental, social, and economic contexts. While biosphere reserves are managed under the UNESCO Man and the Biosphere MAP program, the World Heritage Sites are managed under the World Heritage Convention.
Ghana's plan aligns with global environmental conservation and sustainable development.
And that's our wrap up the 6 a.m. news here on TV3. My name is Judith Brown. We'll go for a short break and we're back with the rest of New Day. Good morning.